put down Fortnite. It's time for Nerd News Now. And in fact, when you put down Fortnite, go ahead and pick up Spider-Man, which is getting all the buzz from PS4. That comes out this week. Also, Adam Baldwin will be at Fandemic Tour this year. Will you? And finally, it's draft day, just not for the sports you think, on Nerd News Now. Hello and welcome to Nerd News Now for September 5th, 2018. I'm here with Ashford and Miss Jenn. We're going to talk about everything in the world of nerd news, geek news, and popular culture. Let's get right into it. It's September now.
Yes.
So we're done with summer. We talked about movies like the last 2 weeks. That's all done for now.
Yeah.
Movies will kind of start coming back, or good ones anyway, in October. But fall has always been, maybe less so now, the time for television. So you have all these fall premieres lined up, new shows, old shows. Some of the things coming back this week are actually Mayans, which is the Sons of Anarchy spinoff on FX. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the beloved yet maybe drawn out comedy. I don't know if you guys watch it or think it's past its prime. What do you think?
I've seen maybe 10 episodes. I don't watch. I don't have a comment. What about you?
Unknown.
I love it, but I'm also kind of behind a season or two. Yeah. I know this season is primarily going to focus on Dennis. Is he there? Is he not there? But a lot of antics. And Danny DeVito in a really much different light. You know, now we know him as Frank Reynolds. But before that, he was the guy from Taxi or the guy from Twins.
Yeah.
You know? Also out this week, in addition to Mayans, which I'm also looking forward to because I'm a big Sons of Anarchy fan, but is Iron Fist. And now this is a little bit different. Normally we would never be mentioning a streaming service in like the fall premiere, but Netflix has sort of taken over, right?
Right.
I mean, they already took over in Emmy nominations over HBO, which is crazy because that was HBO's job, was to infuriate all the executives at network television. And now it's Netflix infuriating HBO, who was already infuriating. So now all the networks are double infuriated. I mean, they're doing all right with shows like This Is Us and American Idol is still going again. Reality TV won't go away. But
be nice to it. I love reality TV.
I mean, it can be something good to turn your brain off to, but then you have to find something to like turn your brain back on. And that's the problem I always have, is turning my brain back on to it. I'm really looking forward to Mayans, the Sons of Anarchy spinoff. It's going to start Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, I just found that out today. I did not realize that he was going to be in there.
Yes.
Now I'm way more into motorcycles than I thought I'd be.
But if you know anything about the Sons of Anarchy franchise, the question is, how long will he be on there? How long will this character...
Like that, no!
But, and then Iron Fist, of course. I've watched all the Marvel Netflix stuff. I'm really pumped about this. When Iron Fist Season 1 came out, it was sort of just foo-fooed along because there was the whole casting controversy.
Sure.
And the whole martial arts aspect, and then just people really not liking Finn Jones as Iron Fist. But I think he's done progressively better in The Defenders, and then in the standalone episode of Luke Cage Season 2 that he was in. Did you watch that?
I didn't. I really want to binge that and Luke Cage, and I never even got to see Jessica Jones. I need to put them all together because they're perfectly matched for each other, yeah?
Well, the way I'm also looking at Iron Fist Season 2 is maybe it's really Daughters of the Dragon Season 1.
Okay.
So, I mean, just like having Misty Knight and Colleen Wing on there as, at first they were just supporting characters, but now it just seems like the more screen time they take away from Danny Rand, it just builds a whole different element to the show.
Sure.
It's really good. So there's the shows I'm looking forward to, but what about you guys, Ashford? I know the one you're looking forward to this fall.
And you know, like the reason why they first started doing like TV shows premiering in September in the fall.
Well, I would assume school.
That, but also to sell the new cars.
Oh,
so that's why. Yeah, I saw that
because the car season starts a few months early, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to Doctor Who right now. Right. Yeah, and everything else I'm catching up on.
Yeah.
What about you? You looking forward to anything? New fall season?
I am completely inoculated from all seasons because I just record everything and watch it when I can. I'm one of those guilty binge watchers. Like, I just caught up with, Deadliest Catch. Reality TV that I binge.
And that's
it's
dangerous, right? Like Deadliest Catch, like one of the dangerous professions in the world. Yeah.
Indeed.
And Ice Road Truckers. They love doing shows about really dangerous things to do.
And no one even thought about doing before.
And I'm sure they have to have all the warnings about, don't try this. But that just makes people try it, right?
Yeah. Like, I want to get into that.
Yeah, and speaking of weird warnings, like, I saw a Little Caesars commercial, and there was, like, a new 5-meat pizza, and by ham it had an asterisk. I was like, I'm done.
You know what's interesting about, like,
what does that mean?
Binging a show is, all right, like, okay, with Doctor Who, that's not going to come out of one full clip. It's going to be over the span of almost a season, not like a television season, but an actual season, right?
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I spent October to January with the show. So like a quarter. And then it'll probably come out in a year. Whereas if I binge a show in a day or two, I won't see that show again for a year.
That's
so it's
hard.
like, ooh, I think I need to binge it again before the next season comes out.
It gives it a little bit of replay value.
Yeah.
Just because, and sometimes with shows more complicated like Lost or The Wire, you might even rewatch the previous week's episode before you watch the new episode. So you're watching each episode like twice in 1 week. But streaming has just completely obliterated the way we used to watch TV, where we would play all summer and then have to know once school started, like, I've got to be home Tuesday at 7 to watch this show.
That's what we used to call it when I was a kid. Is the show good enough to come inside for? You've been playing all day, would you come in for the show? And the major one was the Wonder Years. We would stop playing basketball to watch the Wonder Years.
That was the X-Files. Everything stopped on Sunday night.
And speaking of returning shows, Arrow returns on October 15th, so a little bit of a while for that one. But last week, star Stephen Amell tweeted out an interesting picture as a teaser for season 7, and kind of playing off the whole Orange is the New Black, which is a hit on Netflix. He tweeted out Green is the New Black.
Whoa.
So he had a poster of Arrow in prison. And now this has been a storyline that I've never read in the comics, but I've heard about it for years. There was always this rumor that Kevin Smith wanted to make the movie Supermax, which is about this run on Arrow where he is in prison. Everyone knows he's Oliver Queen. I mean, and that's like a terrifying thing that I'm sure a lot of characters, Daredevil included, they played around with that idea. Does it make you more interested or less interested when you know that there's a theme going into a season like that?
I love it. I love things like that. Now, I never read Supermax, but I read the Daredevil one. It was wonderful. I don't remember the details about it. I just remember thinking, man, this is awesome. But yeah, when they have like an overarching theme, and like that's just how things are written now. So even with comic books, we know we're writing to trade, so we're going to make it more serialized. Same thing where if I'm a Netflix show, I'm going to kind of write it for, I know they're going to binge the show, so I'm writing it in that mind frame of this is how people are watching it. So yeah, I do like some people are like, no, I prefer individual comic book issues where it's set it and forget it in one issue, or a 12 episode season where each episode is one thing. Maybe like out of a 10 episode season, 3 episodes where they're standalone. But I do like an overarching theme.
Do you think that they're going to kind of shrink his world to be, his whole world is prison? So he has to deal with other people he might have put away before?
I hope that he will definitely have to deal with other people. He's that in the tagline or in kind of the from CW, the synopsis, it said other people he's put away before and worse. I'm like, what can be worse?
Okay.
But I mean, I guess he could have like accidentally killed someone's family member and now they're in for that, or just other things going on. The problem with the pacing, you never know. Like, does he get out of prison in 3 episodes, or is he in there all 24? To me, I'd be awesome if he was in there for all 24. Because you still have his whole crew running around, operating from the outside.
Sure.
So you can still do what you're doing, but he's just going to be behind bars. Hopefully he's not like out by the end of the finale because the season premiere. I mean, because that would just be kind of lame.
What's the
Then
deal?
it's like,
Yeah.
what was the point with
Don't rush it.
with that theme? But sticking in the Arrowverse, Black Lightning. It's rumored for season 2 that they might actually be bringing in a member of the Outsiders, which would be Looker. She was a member of Batman and the Outsiders back in the comic in the 80s, I believe, issue number 25. She's got telepathy amongst other powers. Does something like that get you excited when they're going to expand that character's universe? Because remember, he's not a part of the Arrowverse yet, which is kind of a shame because I think that was the best CWDC Comics season 1. And Stephen Amell has been tweeting out, like, don't worry, he will be a part of the Arrowverse. But as of yet, there's not really been a mention or any characters, come over. It was only that first season so far. But if you haven't seen a show like that, does it make you excited when they add characters to it?
Oh yeah, I love it when they stay true, or you can tell they at least peaked in one of the books. And so with Superman, with Supergirl, did they say she was from a different Earth?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Because every time they have her crossover to like the Flash or to like their big, huge, epic crossover they do, she always has to like travel through a portal to get there.
And I like that idea. I've talked to you about this. Like, I like the idea of there's a planet, there's an Earth where I'm Superman, I man down this whole Earth. And Supergirl too, yeah, the two of us, we can man down this whole place. So I don't know if Black Lightning, if he's from like Earth 3 or Earth X, or it's just, I'm in Detroit. And Arrow's like in Seattle. So,
Sure.
yeah, like, dude, there's a lot of people. I'm from the United States. There's things going on in Detroit where I don't know about it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have to take this big event. So they've already world built season 1. Now, hey, it might be leading up to let's meet Arrow. Let's meet the Flash.
I love when they bring in characters like that, especially because I think that these shows are kind of a gateway for people that haven't ever read the comic books to get a new knowledge. And even people like me that are steeped in comic books, I'm not familiar with that character, so I look at it as an opportunity to learn more also. So I think it's just a great way to give new knowledge and even reimagine characters. Like, they could introduce her as being completely different and make it new and fresh.
Right, and like you said, it's characters that you would never imagine being able to make it to the big screen or even the small screen in any other instance, like Jessica Jones Season 2, spoiler, cover your ears. The Wizard was on there, who is just a really obscure character from the Avengers comics, but that's the only chance, that he's going to get to be on even the small screen, and I think it just makes the writers work harder to stay true to the comic. They have to really dig in and find characters like that. Finally, earlier this week, Adventure Time signed off the air, had their finale after 10 seasons. Now, you may not have seen Adventure Time, but it's about Jake and Finn. I had a great voice cast. It was just a really fun, quirky show on Cartoon Network. What, to you, did either of you watch that or have an experience with that?
The only experience I have is like being around people that are fans of it. So I like the idea of people who watch it, they love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched it once to see if it was something I could get into, and I think I would have done better to start somewhere earlier, because I kind of felt like I would jumped into maybe, I don't know if it was the way that the show normally was, but it really felt like everything was completely not based in any kind of form of reality.
It was not, and it was also like they were very smart as far as like, so the episodes had different themes, and one day they might be just in the forest, then the next day they're in a treehouse, or then the next day they're in outer space.
Yeah.
So it was just a really crazy show. But speaking of finales, are there any finales that you guys really ever looked forward to and that either lived up to your expectations or, for the most part, a lot of them don't to people? Miss Jen?
For me, recently, I know I've mentioned X-Files before, but the most recent season was just like a triple gut punch. If you guys watched X-Files and watched that episode, you know what I'm talking about. It like completely ripped your heart out and stomped on everything sacred for your main characters. Did you watch it?
No.
Oh, yeah. Bring your hankies and or anger face. I mean, it was great. I like shows that make you feel really deeply about something, and I wasn't mad at it for a finale, but it really, man, they got deep and nasty.
What about you?
I think for me, I mean, all time, this is going back a little ways, and of course I didn't see it when it first aired, but it was the series finale of MASH. Because it's almost like a movie, and Alan Alda is one of my favorite characters is Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce. Like, it's, it was awesome. And the way, it was very emotional. And in some ways, maybe a cop-out on a couple of characters, but I just think some of the things that happened to the characters, like, on some things, nothing happened to the characters. They just got to go home. And some of the characters, like Father Mulcahy, they had a life-changing experience and they were never going to be the same. But, at the time, it was the highest watched show ever and the highest watched finale ever. And I think they really did a good job to make it different. And Ashford does a podcast about Seinfeld. We mentioned that before. But that's one that I hated. I just did not like the Seinfeld finale. I get it. It's like, oh, they're horrible people. But, like, to me, it was just another episode and a bad episode.
Yeah, you know what? I think I've only seen the Seinfeld finale once. I know a lot of people are disappointed, but the reason why I liked it is because Seinfeld, it was all about Larry David, when he said we're making this show, it was no learning, no hugging. No Christmas episodes, no we're fall in love and get married in the end. So I thought it fit because the show is anticlimactic. Sure. So I thought that was the point. So that's what, and I was so addicted to that show and obsessed with it that when it was over, like, okay, good, this is like, I'm going to move on now. That's why it took me a long time to return to it. So that's how, like, usually, like, with books, I don't care about endings. I like the journey. So usually my favorite episodes are maybe like episode 5 or the penultimate episode. But, like, finales, it's more of, I got to the end of this good. I kind of see it as maybe some of the Wire series finales where they hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's it for TV news. Other kind of quick hits for this week. The Spider-Man game for PS4, which they've been talking about. It seems like for 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know. Like with these games, they go into this level of production that's almost unlike TV or film, where it can just get backlogged and they have to redo it and they have to have test players online and patches and fix all this stuff. But the PS4 Spider-Man's finally coming out this Friday. I don't know if you guys play video games or not, but I've sort of had a renaissance of being really into these PS4 games that have come out recently, like Detroit Become Human and Far Cry 5. So for me, it's like the perfect marriage of video games and comics. And it's getting a lot of traction. Do you guys currently play any games?
The last game that I played that I was obsessed with is Final Fantasy VII. And I was so obsessed with it back in the day. I was like, I turned it in. I was like, no more. I love that game. And Game Boy, they had a cool game called Final Fantasy Legend. That turned me on to role-playing games.
Miss broke me. Miss broke me. I couldn't get off the island. I died there.
Yeah. This one I'm excited about because it's going to be a lot of like traveling around the city and just like side missions that can sometimes get repetitive, but it's just they put all these fun spaces within the city and just the ability to be Spider-Man and swing around and save people.
Isn't it amazing just how detailed these games can get? So,
yes.
Like New York City.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, and just New York City, like back in the day, there would just be like these streets, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that was in New York, but how specific did they get? With this? I mean, I don't know if they're going to do things like, hey, this store shut down. Let's update it on the PS4 real quick. Here's the new update of what that store is. I mean, they do that with the football games where this player is injured, so he's actually injured in the game, right?
Well, that actually happened in the UFC game by EA. There was a fighter celebration, and he did not like how he was being portrayed by doing that celebration. He was like, that's not me. I need you to do a patch and update that. So, they can. It would be interesting, like, if they have a sponsor and, like, say that Toys R Us was supposed to be in it, maybe, and then they had to, like, patch it out. I'm sure that happens.
Just the closing.
So, like,
yeah.
you know, like
Just
someone
like-
that's listening to this now that's 21, you're like, why are you so amazed? Like, no, dude, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is amazing what these games can do. They look better than real life.
And then finally, in some local news, as you know, we're going to be at Pandemic Tour, which is a new convention. It's going to be in Houston, September 14th through the 16th at the NRG Center. They announced this week the addition of a guest who has a big following because he was on Firefly. It's Adam Baldwin. What do y'all think, Miss Jen?
Oh, so excited. Oh, his character is to die for in the show. And I just like him as a human being. He speaks his mind on Twitter, and he is
Yes, he does.
very much himself, and I like that. I don't like it when people are kind of like, I care so much about what other people think that I'm going to like sway my opinion about everything. He's unabashedly him.
That's why I kiss him on the lips. I'm sorry, I'm quoting the Firefly show. No, I forget which episode, but he said that.
And that hat he wore is so iconic now. I mean, you can, even when someone's not cosplaying, they're cosplaying by getting that hat or knitting it themselves or by buying it from one of the vendors, which I'm sure there'll be a ton of it there. But just Jane and his floppy hat.
A man named Jane.
Yeah.
I think that's the name of one of the episodes of Firefly.
What's the name of his gun?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
It's Vera.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. Well, we're really looking forward to that show. Again, that is Pandemic. They're going to be in town September 14th through 16th at NRG Center. Check that out at pandemictour.com. We'll be right back to Nerd News Now right after this.
Football season is here, and Woodlands Online Sports is back better than ever. Watch all the action on KVQT 21 Houston and woodlandsonline.com.
For home repairs, call John Moore, where quality is guaranteed. If the problem returns, so will we. No extra charge.
Call John, get more. 730-2525.
Hey, this is Mark from Nerd News Now. Check out Pandemic Tour September 14th through 16th at NRG Center in Houston, Texas. Sean Patrick Flannery will be there. He is a movie star, an author, and a mixed martial artist.
99.
Welcome back to Nerd News Now. Now we're going to talk about sports, but not what you think, but maybe exactly what you think. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, so football season just started. Pros kicks off this weekend. We've already talked about how the two worlds always collide, like the world of geekdom and sports. They do Star Wars night, Game of Thrones night, Disney Princess night, all kinds of stuff. Well, one thing that's going on now is fantasy sports. And I don't know about in your workplaces or offices, but in mine, it runs rampant with college football pick'em. And right now, fantasy baseball is winding down. That's in the playoffs. Fantasy football is starting. And just in case you ever wanted to partake in it, but you don't know how, just know that the side effects of playing fantasy football are headaches, nausea, and separation anxiety. And that's also the pros of it, too. I mean, that's also what you get. If you get it, if you play it or you don't, those are the side effects. So just so you know, it's all the same. So it just matters if you want to, like, dedicate your life to being hunched over your phone. If you already are, then it'll probably be a very simple transition. But what we're going to do, we're going to kind of take this back, meld the two worlds to comics. We're going to do a fantasy draft because we love the world of fantasy. So what we're going to do, just imagine that it's a fictional league. It's just called Sports Ball. So a combination of basketball, football, baseball, whatever. And we're going to draft a team of athletes. The athletes are going to be from Marvel and DC Comics. So instead of having positions, what we're going to do, we're going to have different attributes that maybe a scout in real life would write down to tell all the coaches on the different teams before they draft. Like this guy has the power, the speed, the agility. Mm-hmm. So round 1 is going to be power. Round 2 is going to be speed. And round 3 will be agility. Now, we're each going to do just 3 rounds, just sort of like a fun sample draft. during the commercial break, we went to the hat of sorting from Harry Potter. Is that what it's called? I don't even know.
Yeah,
but it's the sorting hat. And Miss Jen, you had the first pick. We're going to go in a snake round. So basically 1, 2, 3, and then 3 has pick
cool.
4 and back. So round
Remind us.
1 is going to be power. The players available are Hulk, Wonder Woman, the Juggernaut, and She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 very strong athletes there. You have the first pick.
I'm cheating a little. I'm taking the Immortal Hulk.
Okay.
You didn't say I couldn't.
No.
It's not the rules. I'm going to do it. Because the current Hulk, Immortal Hulk, is brutal, no holds barred, rip your arms out Hulk. I need him for my power player.
And just for people that don't know, what is the main difference between Immortal Hulk and every incarnation?
He may or may not be currently alive.
Yeah, right.
Pretty sure he's the zombified version of the Hulk, which is not good.
But having read the first couple of issues, is he can basically only become the Hulk if Bruce Banner dies, right? Is that kind of the...
Oh.
So that will kind of be the caveat. Maybe he'll just have to, almost get concussed to become active. Who knows? But that's a good pick.
He's almost always active.
And
Bruce is, I think...
He's always
I don't
getting
think
into
he's
trouble,
really alive.
right? Like, he's just stumbling into towns getting shot all the time. But that is a good pick, because he is brutal.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
Solomon Grundy vibe.
Yeah.
All right, so Hulk, first pick of the draft. He is off the board. Ashford, you have the second pick.
I'm going
Round
with
1 power.
I'm going with She-Hulk. She's a lawyer,
Ooh.
and I remember Ryan Daly talked about how there's a certain run where it kind of reads like Ally McBeal, and I was a fan of that show. The first 2 seasons dropped out season 3. Yeah.
All right, so Hulk, She-Hulk, there's a theme there. But now I didn't put, like, Hulkling or anyone else on there.
Mm-hmm.
So my 2 choices are Wonder Woman and Juggernaut. Juggernaut is so tempting because I just can't see any defensive line or interior presence or outfield or whatever sports term you want to throw in here stopping him. But I'm going to go Wonder Woman because she has the added attributes of flight, and also she's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So I'm going Wonder Woman as my pick for the power position in round 1. Ashford, you have the we're going to go in snake order.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So
You'll
have the second pick of round 2. So back to me. Round 2, speed. Available players are Hawkgirl, Flash, Quicksilver, and Siren. I'm going to go, and this is a player maybe less known than the other ones. I'm going to go Siren. Siren is Banshee's daughter from X-Men. She was originally kidnapped by Black Tom, Cassidy, and the Juggernaut. In the Claremont run, it's awesome. So she has the power of flight, which makes her, in the speed category. But she also has like the sonic scream that she got from her father. So you talk about a total disruptor, either on offense or defense. I'm going to take Siren with the 4th pick.
And I'm going to do this for me and my niece. I'm going with Hawkgirl, the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited series. She was amazing, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the voice actress. Just magnifique. Perfect. And I think, the first episode I ever seen was the first episode of that series that I ever saw. It was a Christmas special, and she was featured in it heavily, and I just fell in love with the character. She's tough, she's sweet, she's soft, she's a leader. Hawkgirl.
Love it. I will go with Wally West Flash.
All right.
From this most recent run of comic books, because I think he has untapped potential that even he is unaware of, and he doesn't have the same kind of parameters I don't think is very...
Is he going to die soon again?
Maybe.
Don't answer that. Okay.
There's more than one running around, so...
Right.
Which one? Which Wally?
Gotcha.
So you've been very... I kind of left that open, I guess, for you to do that, but you've been very specific. I like that. Because, like, they all have different attributes, even though that character. So... all right, Ashford. Well, we're at the final round, round 3. For agility, The players available: Plastic Man, X-23, Nightcrawler, and Spider-Man. I love all of these characters.
That's hard.
So, Ashford, you have
Okay.
the first pick of that
This is
round.
easy for me. All right. So I'm going with this person because I like the fact that I love the theme of this character. I love. Oh, sorry.
I think I messed up the pick.
But let me just go ahead and go first
Okay.
because I want this
No,
character.
you're supposed to go first.
Okay. No, I'm not supposed to, but
We'll just say that y'all made a trade.
yeah, we made a trade
Oh.
because I want this character and I don't want any of you to ruin this for me. I love the team that this character's. I think this is my favorite team in comics.
Mhm.
All right. Second, 1B. I'm going with Nightcrawler. I like the fact that he's this outsider freak, but he's this Christian,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I like the fact that he believes in that, even though like maybe the folks that he's supposed to be brethren with might cast him out, but he still believes. And I love his design. X-Men Red is cool right now, and I liked his teleportation. And in the second X-Men movie, where he was teleporting in and out of that White House, that's one of my favorite comic books scene segments in a movie. That's one of my favorites. Okay, Nightcrawler. Kurt, yeah.
All right, so with Nightcrawler off the board, who are you going to pick for your final pick?
You
of
sure
this
it's me?
three-round draft? Yeah.
I thought since I had first pick, I was going to get last pick on the last one.
No, we might have messed it up, but we'll just say there was a trade or something.
I just really wanted Nightcrawler. Go ahead.
I could argue for any of these to be the best. So agility is our thing, huh? Oh, goodness gracious. It's a... Okay. Okay. This is not because of her agility. But I think Laura, as X-23, has both the added rage of just being a complete rage person, which matches the rest of my possible team, especially my Hulk character. So they'll be good team players. And also she has the added cheerleading team of the rest of her siblings, which are also clones and also hate Wolvie. So I think it'll make for a good team altogether. X-23.
All right, so that leaves me with either Plastic Man or Spider-Man. And as appealing as Plastic Man is, just because he can stretch the ball, stretch the field, as it were, to no end, I gotta go Spider-Man. That's just one of my favorites. Also, kind of gives you those mixed abilities where just so quick and then can almost be aerial to a point. Just slingshotting teammates across the field, whatever field this is, in sports balls that we're officially
And just
playing.
when you think agility, you think Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
So the players that were still on the board, that means were Plastic Man, Quicksilver, and the Juggernaut. So there'll be a lot of good waiver wire acquisitions.
Yeah.
Now,
Colluding. No,
yeah.
Edit that out.
So you guys happy with your teams?
I love it.
Okay.
Oh, no, I love mine.
And who would you get to coach?
Oh, coaches. Okay.
I know who I'm getting a coach.
I need someone who can bottle rage really well and focus people. Shoot. Let's go with Magneto, because Magneto, he could probably focus them, because all of them seem very, other than Wally, seem like they would be difficult to manage, and he seems to manage very bad teams well.
Yeah, well put. Ashford.
I'm going with post-crisis Batman.
Ooh.
The annoying one where he was written. I'm quoting this guy, Scott Gardner. He's a podcaster. He said, like, after post-crisis, it was basically, if you give Batman 9 minutes to prepare, he can take on God. Because he's just this master strategist. Whereas, like, pre-crisis, he wasn't written that way.
Well,
I mean, I'm joking, but Batman.
well, I'm going to get someone that can read both your coach's minds, unless your coach has a helmet, which is Professor X. Be a good rivalry, right? Be a good rivalry.
Yeah. See, Batman would prepare for that. He would know, like, okay, just in case I'm dealing with a telepath, how can I battle against... He's very annoying. I love it.
Well, that was fun. So I don't know if anyone's looking forward to sports, but that would be a fun league to watch.
It would be.
So we're out of time for today, but in closing, I know Ashford has something to say about two British television icons. Ashford.
Yeah, so real quick, Michael Pigwold, rest in peace. He was set designer for Doctor Who, and he's worked on a lot of things over the years. But he did this thing with the TARDIS set design where you could actually you go 360. I don't know where the cameras were, and it was layered where you go upstairs, downstairs, inside that TARDIS. Wow. So just unbelievable, and just certain episodes where it's beautiful. And he passed away, I believe 71, 72, and then Jacqueline Pierce. Real quick, we talked about Firefly. I just met her, Jacqueline Pierce, as far as on TV. In 2014, she was on this show called Blake's 7. She did a couple of Doctor Who episodes. And if you ever want to see, what would a villain be like if they were Darth Vader and a villain from Dynasty, and you mix them together, what would that be like?
Terrifying.
It was this actress. I'm telling you, if you think you like science fiction, and swashbuckling and amoral heroes like in Firefly,
yep.
This show, Blake 7, you can only watch it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to pay for it, but they don't have we don't have unless you want to go on VHS, they don't have the DVD so far. But she passed away on Labor Day 2018, and ever since 2014, she's my favorite television villain. So if you like science fiction and you like just character-driven written stuff, Blake 7.
Well said. It's always good to pay tribute to those who contribute to stuff that we love, like
our
this.
happiness.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. For Ashford, for Miss Jen, I'm Mark. Catch us next time on Nerd News Now.